Raamdeo, very warm welcome, and I think it couldn't be a better time to talk to you right now because you've always been optimistic, bullish about the Indian markets, and in the last 10 days, those who had faith have been rewarded. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, see, in anything that is most important, and you have to be bullish when actually markets are bad. In bullish market, to be bullish is not a big deal. What's the big deal about it? I mean, market is up 3%. If you are not on the buy side, even if you are short, you say I'm bullish. You know, so you have to be bullish when chips are down.
No, but were you bullish, say, 10 days ago when chips really looked down? There was a point at which we thought we were brink of maybe a nuclear war, and इसमें अजीब सा ये था कि युद्ध इतने देशों के बीच में हो रही है. India seemed to have been suffering the most as far as equity markets are concerned. Were you bullish even then?
Yes. See, because there are two types of dialogue. When you have 10 months dialogue, it's a very different thing. When you have 10-year dialogue, in your own mind, different things will come up. You know, if you want to be right or wrong in 10 months' time or 3 months' time or tomorrow or day after, then, God knows what to see. Probably just about who's buying, selling and those kind of stuff. But when you are buying for 10 years, 20 years, I typically think that I'm buying for 25 years. You know, it's different that I'm not right every time. But I always buy thinking that it's 20, 25 year kind of bet. So the dialogue is very different, actually. In my mind, dialogue is very different. And that keeps me, if you see my last wealth creation study, which we did just now, see, what is the summary of the report? The summary of the report is the world is becoming wealthier year after year. If you see last 50 years, 75 years, world is becoming wealthier. India is becoming wealthier at double the speed. World is becoming wealthier at 7% nominal dollar. We are becoming wealthier at 14% nominal dollar. Now 14% is not double of 7%. If you take a 10, 15 year profile. So India is emerging very rapidly. Of course, other countries are also emerging like
it's
China.
It's also our base case, which is the reason why India is emerging more rapidly.
That is also one of the same. That also allows me to be emerging for next 50 years.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very long story, and there are very few compounded countries, predictable countries. Because one is, of course, nothing can beat US. US is one and the only one. You know, like in last 15, 20 years, US has gone from 30% of total global market cap share to 50%. You imagine, the world is growing at 7%. In that, US went from 30% to 50%.
Sir, FIIs ये सब क्यों नहीं देख रहे हैं?
See, they are for 10 months. They want to be right in the next 1 year, 2 years. I don't care. I want to be right on 10-year basis.
So you're saying that the average investor should not worry about the FII figures today. We were earlier this morning speaking with a prominent market voice, and he said exactly this, that the conversations he's having with his friends who manage India for global funds is that हम office आए नहीं आए कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. No one is looking at India right now globally.
Yeah.
Why aren't they seeing all of these points that you are talking about?
I mean, India for them is very small. Say, like, if there is one micro cap where a lot of excitement is happening, I don't care. Because in my scheme of things, that 100, 200 crore company or 300 crore company, I cannot buy enough. So I don't bother about what's happening in that company. India, in their mind, is something like that. And particularly if you're sitting in US, which is now $70 trillion, market cap, where single companies are bigger than India. Well, would you bother about an NVIDIA? Or would you bother about thousands of companies in India? So it has become like that, and US is doing extremely well thanks to this AI and AI-led capex and whatever is happening there. It's crazy. I mean, it looks scary. I mean, if they have 55, 60% of the global market cap, can they go to 70, 75% types? That's the kind of run. If you look at internet-based businesses, they're the only guys. There's nobody.
From a 10-year perspective, how are you looking at AI? Are you looking at it at the next big thing? We should be worried because you know that's the horizon, or is it something which is being overestimated right now?
It's very tough to say for me, but it's a very big development. These kind of times happen every 15, 20 years. I mean, we saw the mobile phone coming in, then we saw internet coming in, then we saw the internet and mobile coming together. That exploded everything out here. I mean, literally everything, payment and scheduling and your road, everything is out here. and more things are coming. So we have seen that advent, and now AI will do its own magic. In what way? Consumer AI we have seen, where you can get your essays right for your son, you can get your letter well written. Those kind of things are done. But the enterprise AI is a very different ballgame. And that's where enterprise and government AI is not that easy nut to crack. It's not that easy as people are talking about. That will also require a lot of intelligent people to run it. You can write your own essay on your own, but you can't run a company with, you can't give one instruction and the company will be run. So yes, you might do your things faster, but it's also not the situation that requirement of AI or software are limited. One of the funny thing or best thing is when things become cheaper, particularly software becomes cheaper, demand is unlimited, literally infinite. So say today, if there are 1 million projects are there in the system, and the 1 million projects could be say 20% or 30% faster in execution. There are 10 more million projects waiting to happen. So what do you do with that? So I think eventually demand will explode. That's my sense. Right now for a year and a half, there will be readjustment of the old model and new model, and then eventually the new model will explode. I mean, once the software is developed, once the way enterprise will adopt AI, if that is clear, I think all the projects will be done by the same services companies.
So you think IT companies will survive, thrive, and come out smelling of roses? Because
survive for sure. How much they'll thrive, it depends on their own adaptability and at what pace diffusion of the technology happens through enterprises.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.